He said it like a blessing, like inheritance, like I owed him my silence. I stood in the doorway of the glass-walled office, the sea flattening itself against the windows, and watched his smile settle into place. Papers were spread like a map to a country that didn't exist. Deposits collected. Dates promised. Futures sold twice. He tapped the folder as if it were already closed. I nodded, calm face. Still heart. That was the moment I decided to finish it. We didn't start like this. We never do. We start with shared dinners and soft plans. We start with the kind of trust that grows quietly. The kind you don't guard because you don't know how to. I met them through family. Through rooms where laughter was easy and the wine kept refilling itself. We talked about building something real. We talked about legacy. I believed them because belief felt cheaper than suspicion. They made me feel useful, then essential, then invisible. The cracks showed up as logistics. A missing receipt. A delayed transfer. A signature that didn't match mine but wore my name anyway. They said it was timing, currency, bureaucracy. I said nothing. I watched. I kept copies. I learned which questions they answered too fast. The night it broke open, it was a message meant for someone else. A photo of the terrace at dusk. The caption said the unit was sold again. Again. My unit. My holding company's unit. I felt the heat first. Then the clarity. I didn't confront them. I closed the app. I poured water. I slept. Anger makes noise. Strategy listens. I went back through everything. Deeds, trust structures. Shells layered like skin. I had built them to protect myself from markets. Turns out they protected me from family too. Offshore filings don't care about blood. They care about math. I traced the flow of deposits, each one tagged to a promise they couldn't legally make. I noted the countries, the banks, the compliance gaps. I hired no one at first. I did the work myself. Late nights. No music, no phone. Just documents and the quiet joy of alignment. When I was ready, I made 2 calls. One to a forensic accountant who didn't ask why. One to a lawyer who did and then smiled when I answered. The plan was clean. Boring even. That's how it works. First, I corrected the records. Titles updated. Beneficial ownership clarified. The building went from theirs to sell to mine to freeze. Then I notified the banks. Not accusations, notices. The kind that triggers questions no one can dodge. Deposits sat. Transfers stalled. Smiles thinned. Next, I widened the lens. Cross-border sales attract attention, especially when the same asset is promised multiple times. I compiled a timeline. Each promise. Each payment. Each lie stacked neatly, labeled in their own words. I didn't add emotion. I added facts. When the notice landed, it didn't arrive with sirens. It arrived with emails. Subject lines went quiet. Meetings got postponed. Phones rang longer. They still didn't know it was me. Until the day Dad insisted. The Mediterranean property is ours to sell, he said, tapping the folder again. Buyers are waiting. I met his eyes. I placed my phone on the table and slid it forward. One document. Then another. Offshore ownership. Beneficial control. Compliance flags. I watched his jaw tighten as the truth assembled itself. It's frozen, I said, by me. Silence is heavier when it chooses you. They tried anger, then charm, then threats dressed as concern. I let them cycle. I had time. The notice escalated. Buyers demanded answers. Regulators asked questions that only led one way. The scheme collapsed inward, like a bad building under its own weight. We met again in the same office. The sea was rough that day. He looked older, smaller. He asked how to fix it. I told him there was nothing to fix. Only consequences to accept. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't gloat. I explained the sequence as if it were weather. This happened, then this. Then the door closed. Watching understanding arrive is a quiet pleasure. Watching regret try to bargain is quieter still. When it was over, I walked out alone. I didn't feel victory like fireworks. I felt it like clean air, relief, and the kind that loosens your shoulders without asking permission. Justice isn't loud. It doesn't need applause. It just needs the truth placed in the right hands at the right time. They lost access. I gained peace. I sold the property later, properly. One buyer, one contract. The sea looked calm again. I stood on the terrace at dusk and watched the light fall where it always had, unchanged by lies. I didn't destroy them. They did that themselves. I only stopped covering the cracks. And I learned something I won't forget. Silence isn't weakness. It's how you hear the moment when the trap clicks shut.